My dear friends, before we dive in today, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture yourself at 98 years old, still sharp in mind, steady in step, and surrounded by the laughter of those you love. That image may feel far away, but it's not a fantasy, it's a possibility. And today I want to share with you the wisdom of a remarkable doctor who has lived this truth. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, at the age of 98, still practices medicine. After caring for more than 10,000 patients, he uncovered 5 daily habits that quietly steal years from our lives. They're not the obvious dangers we hear about all the time. Not smoking, not fast food, not lack of exercise. These are hidden traps, little things many of us do every single day without realizing the toll they take on our bodies and spirits. The most astonishing part? Removing these 5 silent killers doesn't just add years to your calendar, it adds life to your years. More energy, more clarity, more mornings where you wake up excited to greet the day instead of dragging your feet. I know many of you watching are between 50s and 80s. Maybe you've felt the creeping fatigue, the restless nights, or the quiet worry that your best years are behind you. But let me reassure you, they don't have to be. You are not too old. Your body is not done healing. Your spirit is not finished growing. So in this video, we're going to walk hand in hand through the 5 hidden habits. We'll uncover why they're so destructive, hear the real stories of people who changed, and most importantly, learn how simple shifts can open the door to a longer, more vibrant life. Because aging, my friends, is not about decline. It's about discovery. And today, we begin. Let's start our journey in the very first hours of the day, the morning. For many of us, the way we begin sets the tone for everything that follows. But here's the surprising truth. One of the greatest enemies of healthy aging may actually be what's on your breakfast plate. Dr. Nakamura calls it the silent sugar trap. You see, so many of us have been taught that a bowl of cereal, a glass of orange juice, or even a fruit smoothie is the healthy way to begin. But the science is clear. Those sweet breakfasts send our blood sugar soaring higher than a kite. And when glucose spikes first thing in the morning, it doesn't just make you feel sluggish later, it accelerates aging at the cellular level. High sugar intake in the morning floods your body with cortisol, the stress hormone. It throws off your circadian rhythm, the natural clock your body depends on. It creates oxidative stress, which damages cells and shortens telomeres, the protective caps on your DNA that decide how long your cells can live. In fact, research shows telomeres can be up to 15% shorter in those who start their days with constant sugar spikes. Shorter telomeres mean faster aging. But there's good news. Change is possible. Let me share the story of Philip, a 72-year-old retiree. For years, he believed his morning fruit smoothies were keeping him healthy. But after struggling with afternoon crashes, weight gain, and low energy, he decided to follow Dr. Nakamura's advice. He swapped his smoothies for eggs, avocado, and a handful of leafy greens. Within just weeks, his energy returned, his thinking became clearer, and he began walking daily with renewed strength. So what can you do? Wait at least an hour after waking before eating. Follow the protein first rule. Begin with eggs, nuts, or fish instead of cereals or yogurt. Focus on proteins, healthy fats, and non-starchy vegetables. And if possible, track your glucose levels to make sure your blood sugar stays under 120 mg/dL before noon. Remember this, your first meal is not just fuel. It's a message to your body. Let that message be strength, stability, and life. Now let's turn to something so simple, yet so often overlooked, water. You and I both know our bodies are made mostly of it. But what many don't realize is that most older adults walk around every single day slightly dehydrated, not thirsty, not fainting, just quietly running on less water than their body truly needs. And that silent lack of hydration speeds up aging in ways you might never expect. When your body doesn't get enough water, your brain is one of the first places to feel it. Studies show even mild dehydration can reduce cognitive performance by as much as 23%. That means slower thinking, foggy memory, and even a heavier emotional load. Your muscles feel weaker, your joints stiffer, and your skin loses its glow. Inflammation begins to rise, quietly wearing down your cells from the inside out. Nancy, a graceful 69-year-old grandmother, is a perfect example. She came to Dr. Nakamura feeling tired all the time. Her knees ached, her skin looked dull, and she felt years older than she really was. After a careful conversation, it became clear she was living in a constant state of mild dehydration. She drank coffee, tea, and the occasional soda, but rarely water. Once she followed a hydration routine, starting her mornings with a glass of water mixed with a pinch of sea salt and lemon, sipping small amounts steadily throughout the day, and adding water-rich foods like cucumber and lettuce, her transformation was remarkable. Her energy lifted, her joints loosened, and she said, "I feel like I've been given back 10 years." Here's the simple truth. As we age, our sense of thirst becomes weaker. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. That's why you need to drink with intention. 4 to 6 ounces every hour is better than gulping down large amounts at once. Pay attention to the color of your urine. It should be pale yellow, not dark. And be mindful. Coffee after 10 a.m., sodas, and energy drinks only pull more water out of your system. Hydration is more than quenching thirst. It's refreshing your mind, nourishing your cells, and giving your body the strength it needs to live fully. Now, friends, let's talk about one of the quietest yet most powerful thieves of life, chronic stress. Not the occasional worry we all feel when bills pile up or when a loved one is ill, but the constant, grinding kind of stress that settles into your shoulders, your jaw, even your heart, and refuses to let go. Dr. Nakamura often said that chronic stress can take 10 to 15 years off a person's life. Why? Because stress doesn't just live in your mind, it floods your body with chemicals like cortisol. Day after day, high cortisol eats away at your muscles, adds fat around your belly, weakens your sleep, and raises your risk of heart disease and stroke. You may look in the mirror and think, "I've aged overnight," when in reality it's stress wearing down your very cells. I remember Richard, a 74-year-old retired teacher. He looked older than his years, with deep lines etched across his face. He admitted to lying awake most nights, his thoughts racing, his chest tight with anxiety. When he finally recognized that stress wasn't just part of life, but a force stealing his energy and health, he decided to make changes. He stopped starting and ending his day with the news, which only fueled his fear. He practiced deep breathing every couple of hours, just 3 slow breaths in and out. He walked outside more, let himself enjoy the quiet of the trees, and gave himself permission to set boundaries with people who drained his spirit. Within weeks, his eyes looked brighter, and for the first time in years, he slept through the night. He told me, "I didn't realize how heavy the weight was until I set it down." Stress can feel invisible, but its damage is not. The solution is not to erase stress completely. We can't. But we can learn to step away from it, to breathe through it, and to remind ourselves that peace is a choice we can nurture each day. And when peace grows, so does life. My friends, let's turn to another habit that seems small but has a surprisingly big impact on how long and how well we live: eating late at night. For many of us, evenings feel like the only time we can truly relax. The day's work is done, the house is quiet, and reaching for a snack before bed feels comforting. Maybe it's a bowl of cereal, a few cookies, or even just a glass of milk. But here's the truth. When we eat close to bedtime, our bodies can't fully enter their natural repair cycle. Think of your body at night as a workshop. While you sleep, your cells are busy repairing, your brain is clearing out waste, and your organs are detoxing. But if you've just eaten, that workshop gets interrupted. Instead of repairing, your body shifts back into digestion. Insulin rises, cortisol spikes, and the cycle of rest and renewal is cut short. Over time, this not only leads to weight gain and fatigue, but also accelerates aging at the cellular level. Sandra, a 71-year-old grandmother, once told me she could never fall asleep without a snack. She thought it soothed her, but she often woke up groggy, her energy dragging through the day. After some encouragement, she stopped eating after 6 p.m. and shifted her main meal to lunchtime. Within a month, she had lost 15 pounds without even trying. Her sleep deepened, her mornings felt lighter, and she said, "I finally feel rested, like my body is working with me instead of against me." So what can you do? Try to close the kitchen at least 3 hours before bedtime. Brush your teeth, wash your dishes, and let your mind know the day of eating is over. If you find yourself reaching for food out of habit, Replace it with a calming activity, stretching, reading, or listening to soft music. Remember, friends, late night eating isn't just about food. It's about giving your body the gift of true rest. When we honor that rhythm, we wake up renewed, ready to live the day with strength and joy. My dear friends, now we come to perhaps the most surprising and the most heartbreaking habit that shortens life: social isolation. We often think of health as something measured in numbers, blood pressure, weight, sugar levels. But science now tells us something extraordinary. Being alone too much can be just as dangerous as smoking, obesity, or even chronic illness. Isolation doesn't just touch the heart, it weakens the body and the spirit. Here's why. When we are cut off from meaningful connection, our bodies slip into a quiet kind of stress. Cortisol rises, inflammation builds, the immune system grows weaker, the brain begins to age faster, and even memory starts to fade. Researchers have found that loneliness increases the risk of heart disease by nearly 30% and the risk of stroke by over 30%. That is not small, that is life-changing. I once met Russell, a widower of 76, who had slowly withdrawn from his friends after his wife passed. He stopped going to church, skipped his weekly card games, and spent most days in silence at home. At first, he thought he was simply getting old. He felt tired, forgetful, and his spirit grew heavy. But when his daughter gently nudged him to join a community gardening group, something shifted. Surrounded by laughter, conversation, and the simple act of digging in the soil with others, Russell began to come alive again. His memory sharpened, his mood lifted, and even his doctor noticed improvements in his health. He told me, "I thought my life was winding down. Turns out I just needed people." The good news is, connection doesn't require grand gestures. A phone call to a friend, a walk with a neighbor, saying yes to a lunch invitation, joining a local club, a volunteer project, or even learning a new hobby with others. And for those of us who live far from loved ones, technology can be a bridge. Video calls, online groups, even sending voice messages. Pets too can bring comfort and companionship. So here's the truth. Growing older doesn't mean growing alone. Every smile shared, every conversation held, every hand shaken adds years to our lives, not just in number, but in joy. My dear friends, as we close this conversation, I want you to hold on to one truth. Aging is not a slow surrender. It is an opportunity. Your body, your mind, and your spirit are capable of far more than the world often tells you. We've walked together through 5 hidden habits that quietly steal years from our lives. Morning sugar spikes that drain our energy. Dehydration that leaves the body weary and the skin dry. Chronic stress that wears us down from the inside out. Late night eating that steals our rest and repair. Social isolation that silences the soul. Each one may seem small, even ordinary, but when added together, they can shorten life by decades. And here's the miracle. Every single one can be reversed with small, loving changes. Choosing protein over sugar, sipping water throughout the day, breathing deeply when stress rises, closing the kitchen after dinner, saying yes to companionship. We take back not just years of life, Fred, but life in our years. Remember this, your body was designed with incredible resilience. Even in your 60s, 70s, or 80s, healing is possible. Joy is possible. A long, vibrant life is possible. The path isn't about adding more burdens. It's about letting go of the habits that quietly harm us. Start small, pick one change, master it, then add the next. Step by step, you'll notice more energy, clearer thoughts, lighter moods, and a deeper sense of peace. And as you walk this path, know you are not alone. We walk together. Share your journey, encourage others, and be encouraged in return. So today, I invite you, choose life, choose joy, choose to live not just longer, but fuller, because every moment you are given is a gift worth savoring.